Milday, Chapter 4, Infection Control Principles and Practices. Chapter on Outline, Publisher's Note, Introduction, Why Study Infection Control, Principles and Practices. Meet the current regulations for health and safety. Discuss federal and state agencies that regulate the of barbering. List the types of classifications of bacteria. Define blood-borne pathogens and explain how they are disinfecting and sterilizing. Identify types of disinfectant, standard precautions, and explain procedures for handling an exposure incident. Regulate licensing enforcement and your conduct when you are working in the shop. Federal agencies, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, was created as part of the U.S. Department of Labor to regulate and enforce safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace, regulating employee exposure to potentially toxic substances and informing employees about the possible hazards of materials used in the workplace are key points of the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. This regulation created the Hazard Communication Standard, which requires that chemical manufacturers and importers assess and communicate the potential hazard associated with their products. The Material Safety Data Sheet was a result of HCS in 2012, along with representatives from most of the nations in the United Nations. OSHA agreed to comply with the globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemical systems. This initiative was designed to create label standards to be used around the globe and include the use of specific pictograms to indicate possible safety concerns. The initiative also included the adoption of a 16-category standard format safety data sheet. To replace the MSDS, the HCS Act in 1983 gave workers the right to know, but the new GHS gives workers the right to understand. The standards set by OSHA are important to barbers because of the products they use daily. Hazardous ingredients contained in the products. Barbers should view OSHA as an agency designed to ensure a safe workplace for all U.S. workers. Safety data sheets replace material safety data sheets. Manufacturers supply a safety data sheet for all chemical products manufactured and sold. All SDS will be organized identically and will contain the following 16 categories, including emergency phone number. Recommended use of the product and restriction use are displayed. Hazard identification. All hazards of using the end chemical are detailed. Composition information on ingredients. Information on chemical ingredients is included. Acute and delayed and required treatment are included. Firefighting measures. Suitable fire extinguishing techniques and equipment and the chemical hazards of fire are listed. Accidental release measures. Emergency procedures, protective equipment, and proper methods of containment and cleanup are listed. Handling and storage. Precaution for safe handling and storage, including incompatibilities, are listed. Exposure controls, personal protection. OSHA permissible exposure limits and personal protective equipment are listed. Physical and chemical properties. The chemical and possibility of hazard symptoms and chronic effect are included. Ecological information, effects on wastewater, and transport information. Restrictions on transportation are included. For the United States Department of Labor. Hazard communication safety data sheets retrieved from OSHA.gov. In addition, pictograms that are internally recognized are used to ensure that information is being communicated in easily recognizable formats. When necessary, the SDS can be sent to a medical facility so that a doctor can better assess and treat the patient. available gases a health risk to anyone exposed to hazardous materials and violates federal and state regulations, OSHA and state. HCS, Pictograms and Hazards, health hazard, carcinogen, mutagenicity, reproductive toxicity, respiratory sensitizer, target organ toxicity, aspiration toxicity, flame, flammables, pyrophorics, self-heating, emits flammable gas, self-reactive organic peroxides. Exclamation mark. Irritant, skin and eyes, skin sensitizer, acute toxicity, harmful narcotic effects, respiratory tracts, irritant, hazardous to ozone layer, non-mandatory. Gas cylinder, gases under pressure. Corrosion, skin corrosion, burns, eye damage, corrosive to metals. Exploding bomb, explosive, self-reactive organic peroxides. Flame over circle, oxidizers. Environment, non-mandatory aquatic toxicity. Skull and crossbones, acute toxicity, fatal or toxic. That was figure 4.2. Let's start with the chat. OSHA and state. In addition to pictograms, okay, there you go. OSHA and state regulations. Federal and state laws require barbers to obtain SDS from the chemical product manufacturers or distributors for each professional product they use. SDS often can be downloaded from the product manufacturer's or distributor website. All workers in the barbershop must read the information included on each SDS and verify that they have read it by adding their signatures to sign-off sheets for the product. All states require that sign-off sheets must be immediately available to state or federal inspectors upon request. Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA registers all types of disinfectants sold and used in the United States. Disinfectants are chemical products that destroy most bacteria, excluding spores, fungi, and viruses on surfaces. The two types that are used in the barbershop and hospital disinfectants and tuberculosidal disinfectants. Hospital disinfectants are effective for cleaning blood and body fluids from non-porous surfaces. By non-porous, we mean an item made or constructed of a material that has no pores or openings and that cannot absorb liquids. Hospital disinfectant controls the spread of disease. Disease is defined as an abnormal condition of all or part of the body, its system, or its organs that make the body incapable of carrying on normal functions. The most commonly used disinfectants are the following. Quaternary ammonium compounds, commonly known as quads, are products made of quaternary ammonium cations and are designed for disinfectant of non-porous surfaces. They are appropriate for use in non-critical environments and are effective against excuse me. And are effective against most pathogens of concern in the barbering environment. Tuberculosidal disinfectants, often referred to as phenolics, are proven to kill bacterium that causes tuberculosis. In addition to other pathogens destroyed through the use of hospital disinfectants, tuberculosis is a disease caused by a bacterium that is transmitted through coughing or sneezing. It is passed through inhalation only and is not transmitted by the hands or picked up on surfaces. Tuberculosidal disinfectants are one kind of hospital disinfectants. However, because these disinfectants are effective against the pathogens does not mean they should automatically reach for them. Some of these products can be harmful to tools and equipment, and they require special methods of disposal. Check the rules of your state to be sure that the product you choose complies with state requirements. Most pathogens of concern in the barbershop are adequately destroyed by standard EPA registered disinfectants and do not require tuberculosidal disinfectants. However, some states do require tuberculosidal disinfectants, so always check the rules of your state to be sure the product complies with state requirements. There are also some states that require tuberculosidal disinfectants only when blood contamination has occurred. In those states, you should keep a tuberculosidal disinfectant readily available, but you should use it only when required. It is against federal law to use any disinfecting product in a way contrary to the use indicated on its label. Before a manufacturer can sell a product for disinfecting surfaces, tools, implements, or equipment, they must obtain an EPA registration number shown following the EPA registration number near the manufacturer's name that certifies that the disinfectant, when used correctly, will be effective against the pathogens listed on the label. For example, clipper disinfectant must be approved by the EPA for use with clippers in specific environments, such as a barbershop, or the manufacturer would be breaking federal law by marketing them to clipper disinfectant to the barber market. This also means that if you do not follow the label instructions for mixing, contact time, and the type of surface the disinfecting product can be used on, you are not complying with federal law. If there were an injury related lawsuit, you could be held responsible. State regulatory agencies. State regulatory agencies exist to protect barbers and their customers. Health and safety. While they receive services, state regulatory agencies include licensing agencies, state barber boards, commission, and health departments. Regulatory agencies require that everyone work on the summers in a barbershop follow specific require that everyone working on consumers in a barbershop follow specific procedures. Enforcing of the rules through inspection and investigation of consumer compliance is also part of an agency's responsibility. An agency can issue penalties against both the shop owner and the barber's license. Penalties vary and include warning, fines, probation, and suspension, or revocation of licenses. It is vital that you understand and follow the laws and rules of your state at all times. Your professional reputation, your license, and your client's safety depend on it. Laws and rules. What is the difference? Laws are written by both federal and state legislature and determine the scope of practice, what each license allows the holder to do, and establish guidelines for regulatory agencies to make rules. Are also called statutes. Rules and regulations are more specific than laws. The regulatory agency or the state board writes the rules and determines how the law must be applied. Rules establish specific standards of conduct and can be changed or updated frequently. It is the barber's responsibility of any changes to the rules and regulations and to comply with them. Ignorance of the law is not an acceptable reason to excuse for non-compliance. Understanding the principles of infection. After reading this section, you will be able to list the types of classifications of bacteria. My eyes are dry. All right. Here we are. Being a barber could cause injury or infection, which is the invasion or ruin the shop's reputation. Fortunately, preventing the spread of infection is easy when you know proper procedure and follow them at all times. Prevention begins and ends with you. Effective infection control in the barbershop also influences the professional image of the establishment. A client's first impression of the shop begins the moment they open the door, so a clean environment should extend beyond each barber's immediate work area. All of the sight, sound, smells, and general ambience of the barbershop melt together to form this first impression, regardless of how many times a client has previously visited the shop. In essence, the first impression happens over and over again because clients do not see you or the shop daily. A clean and orderly barbershop helps build clients' confidence and trust. Their continuous care is being taken to provide a safe and sanitary environment in which to receive their personal services. Infection control. Infection control refers to the methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of infectious organisms. Barbers must understand and remember the following four types of potentially harmful organisms: bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. Under certain conditions, many of these organisms can cause infectious diseases. An infectious disease is caused by pathogenic organisms that enter the body. An infectious disease, however, may or may not be spread from the person to another, depending on the organism and its method of transmission. In this chapter, you will learn how to properly clean and disinfect the tools and equipment you use so they are safe for you and your customers. Cleaning is a mechanical process using soap and water to detergent and water to remove all visible dirt, debris, and many disease-causing germs from tools, implements, and equipment. The process of disinfection the spread of infection and disease. At minimum, disinfectants used in a barbershop must be bactericidal, capable of destroying bacteria; virucidal, capable of destroying viruses; fungicidal, capable of destroying mold and fungi. Remember, in some states, disinfectants must also be effective against tuberculosis. Check your state board rules and regulations for compliance information. Be sure to mix and use these disinfectants according to the instructions on the label so they are safe and effective. Contaminated tools and equipment can spread infection between customers if proper disinfection steps are not taken after every service. You have a professional and legal obligation to protect your clients from harm by using proper infection control procedures. If clients are infected or harmed because you did not perform infection control procedures correctly, you may be found legally responsible for the injuries or infection. Bacteria. Bacteria are single cell microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. A microorganism is any organism of microscopic or submicroscopic size. Some bacteria are harmful and some are harmless. Bacteria almost anywhere: on skin, in water, in the air, in decayed matter, on environmental surfaces, in body secretions, on clothing, or under the free edge of nails. Bacteria are so small they can only be seen with a microscope. Types of bacteria. There are thousands of different kinds of bacteria which fall into two primary types: pathogenic and non-pathogenic. Most bacteria are non-pathogenic. In other words, body non-pathogenic bacteria help the body break down food, protect against infection, and stimulate the immune system. Pathogenic bacteria are harmful microorganisms that can cause disease or infection in humans. When they invade the body, shops and schools must maintain strict standards for cleaning and disinfecting at all times to prevent the spread of pathogenic microorganisms. It is crucial that students learn proper infection control practices while in school to ensure that they understand the importance of following them through their career. Present terms and definitions related to pathogens. Bacteria. One called one called microorganisms having both plant and animal characteristics. Some are harmful and some are harmless. Direct transmission. Transmission of blood or body fluids through touching, including shaking hands, kissing, coughing, sneezing, and talking. Fungi. Singular fungus, single cell organisms that grow in irregular masses that include mildews, and yeast. Indirect transmission. Transmission of blood or bloody fluids through contact with an intermediate contaminated object such as a razor, extractor, knifer, or an environmental surface. Infection. Invasion of body tissue by disease-causing pathogens. Germs, non-scientific synonym for disease-producing organisms. Microorganisms, any organism of microscopic to submicroscopic size. Harmful microorganisms that enter the body and can cause disease. Organisms that grow, parasites. Organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or in another organism, referred to as the host, while contributing nothing to the survival of that organism. Parasites must have a host to survive. Toxins, various poisonous substances produced by some microorganisms, bacteria, and viruses. Virus, a submicroscopic particle that affects and resides in cells of biological organisms. Classifications of pathogen bacteria. Bacteria have three distinct shapes that help identify. Pathogenic bacteria are classified as described below. Kochi are round-shaped bacteria that appear singly, alone, or in groups. Staphylococci, Staphylococci are pus-forming bacteria that grow in clusters like bunches of grapes. They cause abscesses, stools, and boils. Some type of Staphylococci, or staph as many call it, may not cause infections in healthy humans, although others may be deadly. Strep Tokoshi are pus-forming bacteria arranged in curved lines resembling a string of beads. They cause infections such as strep throat and blood poisoning. Diplococci are spherical bacteria that grow in pairs and cause diseases such as pneumonia. Bacilli are short, rod-shaped bacteria that are the most common bacteria and produce disease such as tetanus, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, and diphtheria. Spirilla are spiral or corkscrew-shaped bacteria that are subdivided into subgroups, such as Treponema pallidum, which causes syphilis, a sexually transmitted disease, a Borrelia burgdorferi, which causes Lyme disease. Movement of bacteria. Different bacteria move in different ways. The term motility refers to self-movement. Kochi rarely demonstrates self-movement and are generally transmitted in the air and dust or within the subconscious in which they settle. Bacilli and spirilla are both capable of movement and use slender hair-like extensions called flagella or for locomotion. You may also hear people refer to sila in reference to the cell movement, but they are much shorter than flagella. Bacteria requires relatively many more cilia to ensure cell movement. Both flagella and sila move cells, but they have different types of motion. Bacteria with flagella move in a snake-like motion, while those with sila move in a rolling-like motion. All right, I'm gonna come back to this one. We stopped on page 66.